Hello. As parents, we are all experiencing the hardship of tzar gidul banim. On many different aspects, it's hard to grow kids, especially in this generation. Raising kids is a hard experience in so many different levels and so many different ways. But one of the things that bothers almost every parent is when the kid becomes now bar mitzvah and bat mitzvah, and the fast days are coming, and we don't know how to deal with many of the kids that are not there yet. Some kids are strong and they want to go through the experience. They already started fasting years ago and they have no problem with it. Of course, it's hard on everybody, but they took the challenge and they went through it. But some kids are not there yet. You see that they're too tender. They're still babies. They're not there yet. You see that it's too big on them. How do you approach with such a thing? So let's see how the halacha deals with that. Let's just first say that there's a difference between the fast of Yom Kippur, which is the oraita that requires shiur by itself. That definitely is something that the kids have to fast once they become bar mitzvah and bat mitzvah. We're dealing today with the Ta'aniyot, the Rabbanan, like Tisha B'Av, Zayin B'Tammuz, Asara B'Tevet, Ta'anit Esther, and Tzom Gedalia. Those fasts, says the Magen Avraham, that as long as we don't know the kid has 2 hairs, if the kid doesn't have 2 hairs yet in the private area, he's not considered yet a gadol, or for a girl, gedola, and therefore they are not required to fast. This is how the Magen Avraham brings down in Siman Tafresh Zayin, and Mishnah Berurah brings this Magen Avraham la'alacha. But the Mishnah Berurah contradicts himself, because in the Biur Halacha in Taf Kuf Nun, he brings that he is obligated, like the Pri Megadim brought down, even without the hairs needed, and he's already obligated. It seems like a complete contradiction in the Mishnah Berurah, and the poskim deal with that. For instance, Shevet HaLevi in Chelek Zayin, Siman Kuf Kaf Bet, and also he brings the same idea in Chelek Yud, in Siman Pei Aleph, and he answers the following. He says that there's 2 levels here. One is Meikar Adin, strict halacha. Strict halacha, a kid like that is exempt, even though he's bar mitzvah. But since he doesn't have yet 2 hairs in the private area, he is exempt. Same thing for a girl. And mitzad minhag, the tradition is to obligate such a kid to fast. And therefore, since it's only a minhag, it's not even the Rabbanan, it's less than that, it's a minhag, says the Shevet HaLevi, that if a kid that is very strong, is very healthy, is very strong, should go through the experience of the fast. But if he's not very strong, you see that he's weak, he's not obligated. Let's see it inside. He says like this. He says, Adin im Magen Avraham מעיקר הדין. ולעניין המנהג, אם הוא בריא היטב, יעשה כפרי מגדים, which means that he would be obligated, he would fast. בריא היטב, בריא doesn't mean healthy, it means that he's strong. He's very strong. You see that if he's very strong, he should go through it. אבל אין לנו לחייבו כלל כשיטת המגן אברהם. But even him, we can't obligate him. If he doesn't fast, we can obligate him because Mikar Adin, he is exempt. The same thing he writes again in Chelek Yud. The Be'er Moshe, the Debatziner, is a little bit more strict on the halacha. He brings down in Chelek Chet, Siman Tzadik Vav, this halacha. He says that he is obligated, but then even him, he says, Makom Chulsha, K'tzat yesh lo al ma lismoch. Doesn't say over here that only if he's strong, if very strong, the Lashon of the Shevet HaLevi, the kid should fast, unless he feels weakness. How much weakness? Chulsha k'tzat. A little bit weakness is already exempt. This is how the Shulchan Aruch Harav is posek halacha lemaaseh, where he brings this halacha in Hilchot Yom HaKippurim, at Siman Tafresh Zayin. He says, Ben Yud Gimel Shanim Shlemot uvenekeva bat Yud Bet Yamim Shlemot, אם הביאו 2 שערות, if they brought 2 hairs, הרי הם כגדולים לכל המצוות, חייבים להשלים התענית מן התורה. They're obligated to finish and complete the fast once they are bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah with 2 hairs. אבל אם עדיין לא הביאו 2 שערות, if they don't have hair yet, עדיין הם קטנים. They're still considered minors. ואין חייבים להשלים מהתורה, and they don't have to complete the fast. But then he says, אפילו נער שהוא כחוש ותש כוח, אין להקל, even a kid that is weak should not be lenient. And it continues and says, when are we talking about all this? במה דברים אמורים? ביום הכיפורים שמן התורה. When we're dealing with יום הכיפורים, since it's a Torah obligation. אבל בשאר תעניות שאינם אלא מדברי סופרים, but any other fast, which are only דרבנן, like תשעה באב, י"ז בתמוז and all the rest, אין צריכים להתענות, אלא אם כן ידוע שהביאו שתי שערות. They're not obligated to fast at all, unless we know for sure that they have the hair required. And this is how Chacham Ovadia brings down in Chazon Ovadia. He brings in Taniyot, page Ein, he says the following, לעניין הלכה נראה לי לעניות דעתי, שאם הבר מצווה בריא ויכול להתענות, if he's strong, בריא over here means strong, not healthy, strong. Somebody who's sick definitely doesn't need to fast at all in all those fasts, except Yom Kippurim, because Chachamim didn't obligate a sick person at all, even an adult, nobody that is chole, is sick, is not obligated. But over here it means that he's strong. If he's strong, טוב להתענות עם הציבור. ואם הוא חלש, if he's weak, קשה עליו לצום, and it's hard for him to fast, יכול לסמוך על המקלים בזה. He says even more so, when it's a fast that was nidche, it was pushed over, it was meant for Shabbat, as for instance, Yom Kippurim, as for instance, the Tzom of Tisha B'Av, Yom Kippurim, again, is obligated. Tzom Tisha B'Av was supposed to be on Shabbat, it was pushed over for a Sunday. Such a fast that is pushed over, it's much more lenient. He says such a thing definitely should be a reason for a kid to be exempted. This is how the Yalkut Yosef says in his Sefer on Arba Taniyot, page Tzadikei, he says, יש אומרים שנער בן י"ג שנה ונערה בת י"ב שנה אינם חייבים להתענות בתעניות דרבנן. Some say that they're not obligated at all to fast, even though the בר מצווה בת מצווה, שהם כל הצומות שלנו, אלא אם כן ידוע שהביאו שתי שערות. Unless you know for sure that they brought the hair in a private area. כיוון שספק דרבנן לכולה, ספק דרבנן לכולה, that was brought down in, as we explained in the Magen Avraham, and this is how the Levush Esrad and the Mochatzit HaShekel explained over there, the Magen Avraham. Some argue on this halacha, says the Yalkut Yosef, and he says, Mikar Adin, a person should try to be machmir and should start the fast until they feel the weakness. Once they feel, ירגישו חולשה מיוחדת, אפשר לפוטרם. What does it mean, חולשה מיוחדת? It doesn't mean that the same weakness, everybody's weak on a fast day, but it means that by adults, if you're weaker than normal fast day, because everybody on the afternoon already feels weak, just if you feel weaker than that, even an adult is exempt. By a child, even less than that, it doesn't need to get to that. You just see that your kid is already too weak. It's not for him. It's not for him. It's not good for him. So then it's exempt. This is how he brings down over here. He brings the whole din that we explained, the contradiction in the Mishnah Berurah, and the answers of the Shevet HaLevi and others. He brings the answer from Chazon Ovadia, and he says, Chazon Ovadia כתב בנידוננו שיש לצרף ספק זה לסניף. לעניין צומות שנדחו שאינם אלא מדרבנן. Definitely, if it's a fast that was pushed over, definitely should be exempt. שלא נודע בבירור שהנער הביא שני שערות, לפוטרו מן התענית. He's exempt from the ta'anit. So it comes out like this. למעשה, if a kid which reached bar mitzvah bat mitzvah is such that you don't know if he has hair already. You don't know. You already is doing things privately by himself. You don't know. And therefore, in such a case, really Mikar Adin is exempt, is patur. Mitzad HaMinhag, you should be fasting. If you see that the kid is not there yet, if he's strong, let him fast. You tell him it's a good thing and let him fast. Stay in an air-conditioned room, make sure that beforehand he's hydrated with a lot of drinking and eating, so he goes through the Ta'anit. But if you see that that's not for him, you should try to fast to the point that you see that it's already, you see that it's not good for him. Because many kids, once they go through the Ta'anit and it becomes very hard, they break down from it. The next Ta'anit already, they don't want to fast. They're already traumatized from it already. 2 weeks, 3 weeks beforehand, they all in worries. And you see that they stressed about the Ta'anit very much. You don't want to do that. Rather, when you see that a kid, it's not for him yet, say over here the poskim, that would be exempt. Definitely we're saying so in a Ta'anit that was pushed over. So every parent should see what his kid, he knows his kids, and he should observe his kid and take a look at his kid throughout the Ta'anit. If he's in camp, the counselors should do that, or it's in sleepaway camp, the Rebbe, the counselors, whoever is with them, should definitely pay close attention, and they don't have to go through the whole Ta'anit if they're not there yet. They're not strong yet. We're dealing normally with very long Ta'aniyot, Yud-Zayin B'Tammuz and Tisha B'Av, extremely long. It's very hot outside. It's a very, very hard case, and in such case, you don't want that the kid should build up such feelings, hard feelings towards the Ta'anit, towards Yiddishkeit altogether. You have to be wise and smart doing such a thing. But this is the approach of the majority of the poskim, as we saw over here. Thank you.